Yeah.
Awkward silence at the beginning and awkward silence at the end.
Yeah.
Please. Hello.
It's like, is it working? Is it going?
Right.
Yeah. Oh
And then
my
everybody do a thumbs up if you see the live.
Stephanie doesn't. Okay, good. Well, she's distracted. She has an excuse. This is already starting off really like, hi everyone.
I feel personally attacked.
So we are live. Just, I think we figured this out by now. Hey everyone, this is how it's going today. We're talking, no, it's just giggling for the rest of the day throughout the High King's Tomb. I don't know. Anyway,
I always get it wrong too.
Book 3 in the Green Rider series. That's what Stephanie, Leslie, and I are going to talk about today. And I see Saber, you're already there. Hello.
I think that's my favorite American cover of the series so far.
Yeah.
Like, he is just beautiful, majestic, just how I picture him when I read the story, which is probably why I love this series so much, besides just the action, is the horse.
Yeah. All of them.
I was obsessed with horses when I was a little girl. As usual, I wanted a pony. But, I didn't know the difference. To me, when I'm like, oh, I want a pony, what I meant was the Black Stallion or Black Beauty. And my dad's like, where are we going to put it? In the backyard. Yeah, that's not how that works.
There's a TV show, Two Broken Girls, that have a horse in the yard in the middle of, do they live in New York, I think?
Oh, gosh.
I don't know. But it's like they have a teeny tiny apartment with the backyard, and that's where the horse lives.
That's hilarious.
It works, kind of. I do not recommend it though. But yes, I agree. I like the UK covers for their horses again, for the difference, but I like the American covers too. I just like this. Is it like 90s fantasy art?
Yeah, I'm a big fan for the 90s classic fantasy look to it.
Yeah.
That's when I got into fantasy, so that's what I knew, that's what I love, that's what I'm familiar with, and it's just, you see those kind of covers and it just touches your little heart.
Yeah.
But it also lends a lot to the experience for me, because if I love the cover, it just kind of gives me a good way to start. I have a good attitude going into the book because I like looking at it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Hey, Megan.
And I don't know if y'all do this, and this has nothing to do with Green Rider, but when I'm reading the book, oftentimes if I get to a scene where I'm like, okay, is that what's going on? Is that what I'm reading about? And I'm like studying it, and then when I find it, I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we will talk about that very important scene in our spoiler section, because that talk about importance of that one.
You have great taste, Megan.
Yeah, they just have something that just draws you in immediately. All right. Well, what did you think about book 3? Spoiler free. We're still in the spoiler free section. What did you think about book 3, Stephanie?
I think I have an unpopular opinion.
No.
And I will preface this with, I think it's me and not the book, because I have just been exhausted and out of it the last month thanks to work. But I felt like overall I enjoyed it for the most part, but I felt like this one was a hair too long. I felt like it dragged in parts. I know. But yeah, it had some really, really good moments, and I'm still excited to continue on with the series. But I think right now this is my least favorite out of all of them. And I hate saying that. But again, I think it's me and not the book. I feel like if I reread it at a different time, it would get a higher rating for me.
Leslie is about to.
Yeah. So I loved the first book.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like the second book at all. I didn't feel it had any relevance to the series. If you took it out, nobody would ever know. And I think but I decided to keep going with the series because so many people have loved this. They just love the entire series. I decided to keep going, and I'm really glad I did because I almost feel that the author changed her style a little bit in the second book, and she took a bit of a different route. Like, she kind of took it back and gave us the history of the Green Riders. And it's a good thing she didn't start off doing that. If that had been book 1, I would have DNF'd the series. But I think I discovered what happened. Like, to me, book 2 was boring as all get out. The third book was back to books 1. Just it was full of action. It was full of intrigue. There were new things happening. And I think, and it wasn't so fast paced that I didn't have time to settle down before the next thing happened. To me, it was just properly paced that kept me engaged and entertained. And even when something really exciting wasn't happening, I was still interested in the story that was going along through there. And we really moved forward. And I think what was missing from book 2, that if somehow this had been in book 2, I think it would have greatly increased it for me. Some of the characters. One, Condor. I need him. Captain Emerez or Sarge, I think if they had been in there, they are more frightening. I guess the people are more frightening to me than what's happening over in the Black Veil Forest. But this book really redeemed book 2. It made me forget book 2. And I'm excited for the series again. So I loved it.
All right. And Saber, Megan, you can put in the chat what you think. This is going to be an interesting conversation. Because
I'm glad I have my coffee. I'm going to be over here doing my Kermit the Frog at Stephanie.
Oh, no.
Because book 3 is also my least favorite one of the 3. And I'm not saying that it is a bad book.
No, it's not bad.
I'm still giving it, like, objectively, I'm still in the 4-star range easily with the book. But it's the slowest one. And especially the first half for me is always like, okay, can we get over with this? Come on, okay, read. And then the ending is what gets me in book 3, really. Is, yeah. And... okay, people being scarier. Yes, I agree. I like grandmother definitely is the person for me when it comes to that. And I liked her background story. It just, again, the beginning was more the setup of her and where she is now. And then towards the end, it started like where she is going and what she's doing and her actual being a villain story. That, I don't know if that made any sense, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what kind of dragged for me was I felt like there was so much more dialogue, and maybe I just imagined that. Like, the first half, I agree with you. The first half was slow for me. And maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
And it's grimdark grandmother. Yes, I Hi, Carrie. I think this is, and to your point, Leslie, I think you brought up a really good point on her trying to do something different. That's, I think, really it. Like, all 3 books, I feel, are written in different styles, and she is trying different things, and she is approaching the stories from slightly different levels. So at one point, there will be something that someone likes, or anyone likes, right? Yeah, there are some things that might not appeal to everyone, but I find it fascinating that was kind of the first thing that you pointed out, like how different from a just writing and storytelling perspective the books are, because that's was like, am I making this up? This reads differently. First time around I read it, and every single time I go through this, I was like, this reads differently. But I have a hard time pinpointing why, besides the pace in book 3 that is a lot slower than book 1 and 2, I find. But yeah.
I just didn't really care for how she chose to give us the history of the Green Riders in book 2. I just didn't like the way that Kerrigan traveled through and got all that information. I just was not a fan of it.
Yeah, no, and that's basically book 2, right? So then it's fully understandable if you're like, I'm not vibing with this one. Yeah, I agree. I think book 2 is really a little bit more background. So where you have book one, you're just like, okay, here, Green Rider, they exist. You don't know really anything about them, and you get to know Kerrigan a bit better as a person, as a really young person in that regards. And it's really more an adventure book. Whereas book two is, okay, now that I gave you some adventure and got you all excited, now let me tell you a little bit about the world, and let me show you where they are coming from and the problem we're actually facing as the big part of the series. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really more a setup book in that regards. Mm-hmm. For me, book three is that too, especially the first half, because now all of a sudden you get to see the broad world, like all of Sakaridia, because all of the characters are all over the place, and you get to know them, and you get to know all the fractions of Second Empire and what their goal is, and the kings and the Green Rider, the king, just one, and the Green Riders in general, right? What their goal is, mm-hmm. and what they're trying to protect. And that's maybe why I think the first half is just a little bit slower because of that, because there's just a lot of information, a lot of we have to go through to get to the point then that is closer to the end of the book, and that will then be book four. So
I liked it. I liked getting an understanding of how it was working currently. I didn't particularly care to have that much of the past in book two. I liked what our current setup was and how it was going to work. So I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I found it interesting.
Yeah, I agree with that. I liked book 1 and 2 a lot, but that, what Megan said, makes, yeah.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to the discussion on book 4, because you said so many things that there it is again. It's like, no.
It kind of felt like Oathbringer. Like I absolutely
see, and I love Oathbringer.
I love it, but it's a hair long. But I feel like Oathbringer kind of it was still a 5-star read for me, Leslie. Oathbringer was 5 stars. I feel like she's gonna kick me out of everything.
Well, but that's a good thing, right? That a series like this that has that you all get so many different things out of it, right? That you see different things that you like about it. And I mean, that's why I love this read-along in general. I've never read any of those books, so
they're fantastic.
They really are.
One of these days.
They're the kind of story that becomes a little part of your soul. Just very, very inspiring, and it just, no matter how many times you read it, when you get to certain parts, you're just
yeah.
Like I've got chills thinking about a couple of my favorites just now.
Yeah. Well, and Green Rider is very similar in that regards, right? It's just it goes so deep, and there's so many things that just get you all excited all the time. And oh man, you're just in it for the beginning. There's so much fun. All right, I think there's no point in moving this any further. By the way, I have a problem talking today, so just FYI, if I'm stumbling around my words, try your best guess at what I mean. I don't know.
Well, that makes 2 of us, because y'all know I have issues talking. I also apparently have something in my eye. Sorry.
Boy, as long as you don't poke it out, we're all good. We don't need an Imerus here on the live call.
Yeah. Stephanie will get sick if it's
Do we want to start with the Mervellians? Because I don't know.
I was so glad to have them back in this story. I missed them in book 2.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I really enjoyed when Kerrigan had to go and take the message, and she really didn't want to. She didn't want to encounter the new Lord Governor. And then it turns out he kind of helped her, basically. Well, it's not that he really helped her, but he helped Sakaridia by telling her where to be to help. Her name is leaving me. She's going to marry the king.
Astora?
Yes, Astora.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that whole experience, right? When Kerrigan goes into that waiting room, and the friend of Tima's, that name is escaping me right now because he's not really important. But when he is like, oh, I know who you are, and then
Yeah.
toying around with her, and she has to stay there and be like, nope, I'm not letting it get to me right now. I love this whole dynamic of how she just stands there and is like, no, I'm presenting the king right now. I cannot,
Yeah.
punch him because he's an idiot.
I
And then
mean,
when he gets out,
I
and
am
then
petty. I am a petty, petty female. If that had been me, no, that would not have stood. But after the fact, when I find, when we get to that part where they tell her where she can find Astora, I realize they were playing the part she would have expected from them if they had done anything different than the other old dude that was like running the show would have known and would have, possibly killed them or taken them out before they could have told Kerrigan. So it made sense, and I really loved that. I loved that I didn't see it coming. They were acting like I was expecting them to act. And when that little reveal came, I just thought, ooh, I like it. So maybe now the Morellians aren't going to be those terrible characters like we met in book 1, except for what they did to Beryl. Like I'm still a little hacked over that. I like Beryl. I hope we get more out of her in the rest of the series.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's also that you see that split in the Mavalians, right? That the Lord goes into one direction. I don't know if it's because of the age or, what his agenda is, but it's interesting to see that he's like, you know what? I don't care what my dad did. don't want to have anything to do with that. I want to be my own Lord. I want to make my own history. And that he is basically going against what his father set up all of those years. And with that, against Burge, against Imerus, and against all of the military part that is going with Second Empire. I thought that was really interesting. Well done.
Maybe he doesn't want to be the disgrace to his people that his father turned out to be. That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah. I'm looking forward to more development from him, and I hope we get more of that story as far as what happened there in future books, because I'm very much want to know how that came about in that regard. And as far as Beryl, I had wondered what that meant for her, because in book 2, everybody's powers were failing, and I don't believe they ever mentioned her about her powers. It was just everybody that was at Saccaridia. Yeah. So I was very curious about her, and I thought when I started reading High King's Tomb, I was like, okay, she managed to somehow come out unscathed, and nope, not exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting. That little tidbit on playing back into book 2 at the end when she was saying, when they were explaining like when they figured out that she is a spy. Not at the end when she went back, but in the summer when the powers faded. I like that at the end of the book 3 that they looked back into book 2.
Yeah, I like that long setup stuff.
Yeah, there are a lot of things. That's something that I'm now in this reread realize, because last time I didn't know what would be happening in book 7, right? So throughout the entire series till we are now. And that is something that I'm now realizing is like the things that she does now with book 3, looking back into book 2 and tying things together, that like how she does that. And I'm seeing things now, and I'm trying not to spoil anything because that would be awful.
It's like she's taking all of her knitting squares and she's stitching them together.
And it's so fascinating that she does this, because she takes 5 years between every book, plus minus, right? But there is a lot of time between every book passing that she still manages to keep those connections together and have like this constant threat of how the story goes. I find this incredibly fascinating.
Well, she might be like Jim Butcher, who relies on his fans making Reddit pages and wiki pages and beta readers to keep him straight. When he lets them read it, if he gets something wrong, they tell him, and then he'll go and fix it.
So, Kristen Britain, if you ever watch this, I'm happy to be a beta reader for book 8, because I don't want to wait 5 years.
Let's talk about a rewrite for book 2.
An adaptation. Well, that's one of the things that she said. She wanted to, like, originally, that was the original plan. I hope that is still the plan, because if not, I don't know what I'm going to do. But she said original series, 8 books, 7 of which we have already. So 1 more book to come. And then she wanted to write side stories with some of the characters and just add to the main story. But it should, she said, it's going to be well, side series, side stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, we'd have them all by now.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, back to book 3. We are not at book 7 yet. Okay, Mervalians, yes, I definitely like that story. Imerus was, and again, that went back to book 1 too, right? The stories that you tied back together there. I like Imerus as a character and
Me
such.
too.
And
Me too.
what's the third guy's name? Thorsgaard? The guy who went to the tombs. I like all of them for different reasons.
Thornbold? Is that it?
Something, one of those.
Something like that. He wasn't real smart, but he managed to accidentally get what he needed from the Berry sisters and basically ruin their house and oh my gosh, that was like a Home Alone scene right there.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, but that's the point, right? All 3 of them are so different characters, but they're all on the same side, and it's so fascinating to watch them stumble through whatever their storyline is. And Thorsgaard, I think, whatever, that guy is, I don't know, he's like, oh, honey.
Yeah. It's like you feel sorry for him, even though he's creating havoc for our heroes. It's like, bless your heart. Can I help you? Can I carry that for you?
Yeah.
Oh. And I'm glad we got some Berry sisters too in this book.
Me too. I would like more of them. They're so interesting.
Yeah, although they lost their house.
Yeah, but it sounds like it's going to regrow over time. But I wonder where they're going to go in the meantime. But I got really tickled about the scene in the forest.
Where they were sitting with all the stuff just in their little cart and on the fire. Those
Yeah. And what's his name? The little masked dude came through.
Amber Hill.
I like me some Amber Hill. I mean, honestly, you put a mask on a fella, and even if it's not for really the right reasons, I mean, he did not leave any unhappy customers behind, from what I understand. I really loved his character. I was a little surprised that he got unmasked so soon to us as to who he was. But man, I just loved his character. I can't wait. Another one I can't wait to see what's going to happen with him going forward, especially with that ring that he got from the pirate.
I also love with him how it's mentioned when he's in his uniform or whatever, everyone admires him, especially walking off. Cracks me up.
What did you think? Did you read it or did you listen to the audiobook?
I did the
audiobook.
What did you think about the pirates when he
pirates? Little miss that does the audiobooks. She is fantastic as long as she is not doing the voice of a man or a thing, like the ghost or something. That when she was talking for what's his name in book 2, I almost couldn't make it through that part. There were times that I would fast forward on my phone to get past. It was terrible. It was awful.
So just in case, for those of you who have not listened to the audiobook, with the pirates, she made slurping noises. I can't even do that. It was so gross to listen to that.
You know what I was thinking of when she was doing that? I mean, I feel like every one of us had one of these in elementary school. There was the boy who had the gap between his front 2 teeth that would make his milk come out, and that's what I thought of. Y'all knew, right? Everybody had one, like in 2nd or 3rd grade. It was so gross. Like, making my stomach turn.
Well, but it depicts nicely the moisture they were coming from. I mean, they were stuck in the bottle in the middle of the ocean. Well, for them, it was in the middle of the ocean for who knows how many years. And then, all of a sudden on dry land, well, the moisture is still there, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Megan, you can be. That was the moment where I decided maybe I should read the physical book and just finish it out in reading form.
Yeah, this book 3 is the one I did not have in physical format at the time. So, because after book 2, I was like, I'm going to finish listening to this series and then determine if I want to buy the rest of the books, because book 2 did not do me well. So,
Yeah. No, that's absolutely good enough. Yeah.
They were great to read. It was just the audio that.
yeah.
But she did a fantastic job, like you said, with all the other ones, except for the creature.
Mm-hmm.
But with normal people, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I definitely will mix it up in book 4 too again. Like listening and reading a mix up. I really like how she narrates everything. Absolutely. And I love that Scottish accent that she has. I think it's so fitting to the series.
She does such a great job on that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Pirates, Ember Hill. So yeah, Ember Hill I love this because it added such a different flavor to the story of him being, all the ladies want him to break into their room and, give him a visit. And he just adds such a different flavor to the rest of the characters. It's so different from everything else. Yeah. Now you have kind of like a sorrow type of scene in there, Sorrow character in there. And then the pirates too. Like it's not all of a sudden not standard medieval fantasy. You have pirates now all of a sudden in it and Sorrow in it then, is doing weird break-ins. I thought it was just so fun. He's just a great character. I actually liked that she revealed that early on because it gave you a whole different view of what he was doing as Black Raven, whatever his name is. Versus
the Raven Mask. The Raven
Mask. Thank you. Yes. Versus him as the noble and the cousin of King Zachary. It was so fascinating to see his two faces in that regards and who he was in both cases. And also his growth with, okay, I'm kind of like just a tiny thief to, I'm taking this big job because it's a lot of money to, oh, I'm really regretting this. And now I'm doing it right. Yeah. Like, I love this whole arc of him. Yeah. All right. The other thing that I really liked in this book is the exploration of magic, because that explodes in this book too. Like all the different pieces of magic with grandmother, with the gods, with Kerrigan's abilities, and the explanation of who she is.
Yeah, Alton. We got a really good look at the Dyers and a little bit of information and history with them on the wall. I loved the scenes with the wall and the guardians that are in part of the wall, and just how that all came about, and just the whole arc for him where he's trying to get them to cooperate and let him help. And just, I'm glad that it wasn't easy. I'm glad that it wasn't just an apology and here we go. They're not living people to have that be an appeal to them. They're a spiritual, and they're untrustworthy because you got his cousin is in there sowing discord, which I thought that was fascinating. I loved anytime I got to read about the wall. Although I will confess and say, I know I saw some people liked her singing. I fast forwarded through that too.
Yeah.
I was like, no,
It's
girl.
Oh,
Butch. Was that Butch?
I hope it was.
Did he just get right up on the microphone and burp her? That was so funny. Thank you.
Yeah, this is like a piggy. Our dog has like a little pig that makes a very similar sound.
Milo will see his pig, like it'll be sitting in the floor somewhere, and he'll be walking along and he'll see it and he'll just walk over and step on it one good time, nice and slow, and make it oink, and then he'll walk off.
No, I think it's just him wanting to have attention.
I call it his Chewbacca noises. He just wants attention.
Yeah. One of my neighbors has a dog that does that. He doesn't bark. And
Yeah.
He doesn't grunt. He just.
Making fun of you. Thank you.
Next live stream, dogs talking about the books. Yes.
Right?
They're like,
Awesome.
read a series called The Green Puppers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Also has nothing to do with that. Oh no, that was Cats versus Robots. Never mind. I was at a YA book festival yesterday, and they also had middle grade books, and it was Cats versus Robot. It was one of the books that I was looking at. And it's like, no, I can't take it with me. I would never read it.
They had festivals like that around here. That'd be cool.
Same.
I'm too old for this stuff, but it was fun.
No, you're not.
Whatever brings joy.
Bookworms don't age.
I'm just excited that there were so many teenagers that were reading.
Yes.
I would agree, Saber. I think Cats would win against Robots too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They would just knock them off.
Yeah, knock them off the shelf. Magic system wall. Yes, that whole scene with the Murdigan and his whole entire group, and how he went on and finding them, and the whole explanation of. I mean, that's where you can really see how dark this series is. Like, the first two books were pretty light.
I wouldn't call the first book light.
Well, compared to what's to come.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
Book 3 with that, how they explained how those people started living in the wall and how their spirits got into the wall. That explanation is kind of the beginning of. All right, we're in for something interesting here, and it was kind of the first glimpse of that. Yeah. But that is some magic. I mean, if you think about it, what.
Which is not impressed with the magic system.
You say
it's like, does it have any squirrels in it?
No, just yarn and ghosts.
Guardian. He can be one of those characters.
Yep. Well, at least we're entertaining everyone. So,
yeah.
The one thing.
I would much rather listen to Butch on those parts.
Yeah, that is very true.
No question.
But what I found also interesting is that whole yarn situation with grandmother and how she weaves in the spells into that, and how she kept like the two scenes really with when she had the yarn wrapped around Beryl.
Yeah.
With the pain, and then when she threw the yarn against the wall and made it explode at the end, right, where Alton then had his chance to repair stuff. I think it's just so powerful the way she wrote it too.
And just Beryl's reaction to when it was finally taken off of her that it was yarn, and she thought it was that, I think it was gold things cutting into her. Her reaction to that, I think a lot of grandmother's magic has to do with psychological ramifications. And I think that even though Beryl was freed and escaped, I think she's going to have lasting problems from that time. And I'm eager to see. So I want to know more about grandmother's magic for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Megan. So I don't know if you know that, but Megan has on Instagram, she shares what she is knitting and crocheting to next to her reading experiences. And Stephanie, that was one of the questions.
I didn't know that.
Once you figure out which, that was one of the questions too, Stephanie, that I wanted to talk with you about, and with Megan, you too, like the whole yarn situation, because you are knitters, right? So you use yarn as your craft. How that affected you, what you were thinking about that.
I loved it. I thought that was cool. I really, really loved it. And I loved the my brain just went reboot. The scene when she's doing the knots and everything too, and doing
Yeah.
this, I just loved that whole. And I haven't read that in a book ever, so I thought that was a really unique world building as well.
I have, but and when I read that same scene, I was trying to remember where I read that, but it was a type of witchcraft. It was old. Like I'm using witchcraft as a modern term, but it was an old magic where that's how it it had to do with sea. It was something, a sea witch, a type of sea witch. When they would cast a spell, they would, to protect ships going out from like wind or getting capsized, storms, they would say a protection spell and say, untie this knot on the third day and the wind's going to blow and help you get to where you're going. Like they could bind up certain spells with certain knots, and the captain would know, okay, this knot needs to be undone on this day and this day. So I'm a huge fan of, because it's a visual and I'm a visual reader.
Yeah.
And when she was using everything with the yarn, I could see that. And it just really made a more impactful experience for me reading it, and just made it very memorable as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leslie, was that the Bancroft? Like Carrie is putting Bancroft in here. Was that what you were talking about?
No, I think it is called Salt. It's Salt and Storm is the most recent one by Kendall Culper. Oh, Someone in the Tower. That yes, that's another one.
Okay. Knitting is magic, but those scenes where often writers get crafts wrong, but I love the whole feeling here of making. I agree. Like this, that she had to sit there and focus on it and put her energy into the knots that she was making. Just that atmospheric way she wrote this is just so amazing to me. Like all this, and that the whole thought around which color of yarn do I use? Why do I use this color?
Yes.
Like, what type of thoughts do I need to bring in here? There was at the very beginning the scene of I forgot what she made the spell for, but she was talking about, I need to keep the power in check and I need to divert the power from the village and have it take lives from the animals around it, from the plants, but not from my village. But then it ends up taking the life of the baby.
The baby, yeah.
And it was just so powerful written. I was just thinking, like, what?
I bet she crochets or she knits, and that's how she was able to do that. And I love when authors do that. Show, even if they don't, they show that they researched something that probably a lot of their readers do, and that just makes you feel like you have an investment in each other. It's kind of like John Walker and Weavers, his first book. It's a little YA fantasy, and at some point a couple of characters went and were playing disc golf, and I love disc golf. Like, I've been watching a tournament all weekend, and he got everything right. Everything he wrote about disc golf in his book was right, and I was like, thank you. If you're going to write about something and you take the time to get it right, I'm like,
yeah. Readers. Oh,
awesome. Yeah, I love her magic anyway. So whatever she's doing, I can read for hours about it. And then the other part of the magic system, I mean, frankly, everything in the book that is magic related, it's just so, I don't have the right word for it, but I find it so interesting because nothing is super well defined, right? It's all very, you pull power from the earth type of magic, very vague, but kind of in that regards. And I love just generally how all these aspects play together, and even her yarn magic, and then what we experience with Kerrigan at the very end. And yes, Kate, this is going to be really spoilery, so just I really hope you forget all this stuff.
Care. She doesn't care.
No,
Kate does not mind spoilers ever.
She clicked all the black boxes.
Yes.
That's all right. But even at the end, how Kerrigan's magic, like that she gets out of the brooch and what her brooch does and what her abilities add to that and how she becomes the avatar of the gods and specifically the Birdman. I'm forgetting Westrion, the god of the dead, I think is what he is essentially with his horse Salvastar. There we are at that scene here. I can't. That's the part that I really love about this book. That's what I want to read about all day long if I could. Like that.
I just want to stay. I want to live with Lady, and I want to raise the horses, the messenger horses.
Yes, that whole scene. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I nearly forgot about that.
Oh man, I loved it. Although
so awful.
I hated Fergal. I could not stand him.
I feel like he's such an interesting character, though, because I think you said this in the Discord, Fina, when like he's irritating, but you feel for him at the same time because
I tried to feel for him, but he just persisted in being a horse's butt, and I was just my patience ran out.
I guess I have a little more patience for him because the way he was raised. But I was really irritated at him when he fell in, and I had a feeling he did it on purpose because right before that, they had the whole conversation about how you have to be in this horrible situation.
See, I'd have left him.
And then, thank you. And then just risks her life. But he's not my favorite, but I think he's a very interesting character. And I feel like he's well written in that you have such strong feelings toward him either way.
I see Butch is on my side.
Yeah.
He doesn't
he's definitely a character that puts you in one or the other corner. Like even like Saber, no Fergal or love. Megan, how dare you?
Well, he just so I don't even like to read about fictional animals being killed. Yeah. I don't care what kind of animal it is. I'm the type of person, I don't care what kind of animal runs out in front of me. I'm going to stop. I don't like it. And he kept, if he just did not keep mistreating his horse, was it Buttercup? No. What was her name? Sunny. He just kept mistreating her.
Yeah.
And it's like, Kerrigan, I mean, you see that he's doing it. Whoop his ass one good time, and maybe he'll think like I just don't let it happen 5 or 6 times, and then you just think, oh, he's gonna have an epiphany and he's gonna start caring about his horse because they're so important to being a rider. Okay, I'm a big fan of the Medea way. You lose your mind on them one good time, and then you're done. But I just,
yeah. But he has been so quiet all day, and then as soon as I'm on a live show, he's like, hey.
I love it. I'm glad.
Here, Leslie, there you go.
I'm not going to trust him for a long time.
I found it interesting, though, what she did with him or why she had him to be this way. Yes. I mean, very unpopular opinions. That's what Butch has.
Right.
So Fergal, oh my goodness. Yeah, I want to just slap him left and right when everything starts out. It's like, dude, you really need to get your shit together. But it's my channel. We can swear. Yeah, we can. Too late.
He's a teenager.
Yeah, well, both are. I mean, Kerrigan is also not the oldest at that point. Is she 20 maybe?
So she doesn't really read as a teenager to me.
True.
He has really matured.
She did in book 1. She read very young to me. Very, not very immature, but definitely sheltered.
Yeah.
And she went through a lot. And she didn't want to in book 1 for sure. So I feel like book 2 is where she kind of was forced to grow up a lot. And then and further, there's a lot of things that she had to handle as an adult. You know, when she had to go deal with her ex-classmate, she was very adult about that, and it was at a cost to her on the inside. I mean, she wanted to that guy. And then, of course, she's also dealing with the heartbreak of the little love triangle that she's in with her friend. Astora is going to marry the guy she finally decided she had to acknowledge that she had feelings for. Although I don't care. I like Astora and the king together. I think Kerrigan should just keep messing with Alton because she likes both of them. So I think Astora and Zachary are a much better match. They're a respectful match. I respect both of them, and I'm eager to see what's going to come from their union if it happens. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, especially because I didn't really like the way he and Kerrigan ended it at, I think it was book 2.
Oh, he was wrong for what he did, but that was typical.
Yeah.
She wrote that authentic.
Yeah, she did. But
hey, I'm gonna marry your friend here, but just so you know, I love you. Zachary, shut up.
And it's
Why
still,
did you do that?
I think toward the end of the book, he's like, I still have to protect Kerrigan. And it's like,
no, you don't. She's been protecting your ass for 3 books now.
right.
But I hated what he did when he told her, "Oh, I'm marrying Astora, but I love you." And she even Kerrigan was like, "He didn't have to tell me that." But I felt Kristen Britain. She's like, she's it's like she wrote that man just right, just right.
What did you think about Captain Mapstone meddling at the end in that keeping Zachary away from Kerrigan? What did you think about that?
I think she needs to captain her messengers and stay out of that business because that's only going to make it worse.
Yeah.
What that's going to do is cause some sneaking, which is going to lead to getting found out, and it's going to look one way and be another way, and then we're going to have some miscommunication. Yeah. Butch says he knows what's up. Yeah, that was his agreeing noise. He said, "Tell it, sister." I told it. I don't know how I feel about Mapstone. I liked her in book 1. I was annoyed by her in book 2. And then book 3, she kind of got on my nerves with that. I didn't like that aspect of the story at all. I just
yeah.
I could have done without that.
Yeah.
The most cursed trope, yeah.
Very my least favorite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I guess that's just because I'm somebody like if Stephanie were to say, Leslie, green is an awful color on you, I'm going to say, Stephanie, that hurts my feelings, but thank you for telling me I won't wear it anymore. You know, I'll tell you straight up, you hurt my feelings. You don't ever have to worry if I'm mad at you. I will tell you as soon as you do it. It's like, hey.
Well, and not even that, just like, you know, usually YA romance, it's like, just be honest, you know, or be like, hey, you really say that?
Yeah. I mean, I would rather you just be unapologetically blunt than the miscommunication stuff. Like,
yeah.
Well, that's what Zachary did, right? He told her, "Leslie, I have to marry her, but I love you."
Okay, now there's a difference. That's not miscommunication. That is communicating something you got no business saying, bro. You have that opportunity has passed. All you did was hurt somebody that you didn't have to hurt. He just wanted his little side piece, and he should know Kerrigan enough to know. At least I hope. Oh man, in future books, I sure hope she doesn't have anything to do with him.
I hope.
If he marries Astora, I hope not.
That's a good point.
She just needs to go get Alton from the wall, fatten him back up, cut his hair, clean him up, and they can ride together.
The king of wishy-washy behavior.
I like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think he was
Oh,
feeling her out to see. And I mean, it's like, bro, that's her friend. That is her one friend at the castle that she has, that you're marrying.
Yeah.
Even if she wanted to, even if she were willing, I would think her friendship with Astora would prevent her from acting on it. I hope.
Well, I cannot wait for the conversations in the next books.
Oh Lord.
Oh no.
All right.
I'm gonna need to have more than one cup for that show.
Alrighty. As Tora, though, that is one thing that, in particular in this reread, I started to like her better. Originally,
Oh, I like her a lot.
I could not stand her in book 3. Like, I liked her at the beginning when they started to become friends because of the Fergal situations, but originally when I read it, I did not like Estora in book 3. This time around, I actually did enjoy her, and her, like, I felt with her the loneliness of, like, the way she experienced the loneliness at court, right? That she told her story of, I was sent here, I don't know anyone.
To find a
My
husband,
culture my culture is so different than the one in Sakurabia, and all this backstabbing, I'm not used to that at all. And I really felt for her this time around. I thought it was
I loved her from the first book. The fact that she was sent to court specifically to find a husband to strengthen her father's trade and all that. And she instead, not on purpose, but she fell in love with the one person who was kind to her and took care of her. And she didn't let it stop her. Like, she went after her heart, and I respect that with her standing. Now, I would have loved to have known what would have happened had Cobble Bay not been murdered. I would love to have known how they would have moved forward. Unfortunately, she still loves him, and I love that she still loves him. Like, there was no, okay, well, I'm going to marry Zachary, so I have to love him, and I'm just going to be in love with him. No, her heart still belongs to, I forget his first name, starts with a T. Last name is Cobble Bay, though.
Frian?
The guy that, yes, Frian. Okay, the T is silent. So I love that she still loves Frian. Like, I like that Kristen Britain wrote those two, their love story, and she's got, Astora is still true to that. You don't just stop loving someone because they've died or they're gone or you broke up. Your heart is going to do what it wants to do, independent of your mind. And I love that she has that in there. That just makes me respect Astora as a character. Also, Astora knows what is expected of her, but she's also not going to just be a little pretty piece that's going to sit on the right side of Zachary.
Mm-hmm.
No. She's intelligent. She's been trained. She knows what's up. She knows she was, kind of born to marry somebody in hopes of ruling. And I like that she's like, hey, Zachary, so, this is a partnership, bruh. We're going to talk about this stuff. We're going to do this together, or I'm not just here to be here. We're going to do this together. So I like that. I like that Zachary recognized, hey, she might actually help me do a better job of running this business. So I'm excited for that. I like, that's why I like them together, even though I think he's a little shady.
Yeah.
But he's selfish and he loves somebody else, just like Astora does. But he needs to,
Let it go.
instead of, yeah, because he's hurting everybody. He's hurting
Yeah.
himself. He's hurting Kerrigan. He's hurting Astora, and eventually it could affect the kingdom. Because I'm sorry, but when you have a love triangle with women, the chances that neither one of them are going to be petty are very slim.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to do something.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
Yeah.
I would. I feel like I'm a nice person, but you put me in a situation.
Yeah. All as
I'm
Megan
gonna take
says, right?
action.
Complicated characters. Kristen Britain is good with that. Yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
And then I really wish Karen would have listened all the times as Tara tried to talk to her. She really would understand. Yes, I agree. And
But
wondering
I
what that
understand.
conversation. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I understand what Kerrigan did. She's trying to prevent herself from getting hurt because it. Can you imagine Astora, if Astora does fall in love with Zachary, she's gonna want to be like, Kerrigan, oh my God, he did this for me, and that's gonna break Kerrigan's heart
Mm-hmm.
because now that she's made up her mind that she loves Zachary, so I can understand that she's trying to put her at arm's length just to protect herself, but because maybe Kerrigan knows, given the right circumstances, she gonna be petty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right. So Megan gave you a
That's
you
right.
I would totally read that.
I'm like, sit here, my friend.
Let's talk. Dude, you're not doing it right. Yeah. Yeah. All right. And I think one character that we're missing that we haven't talked about yet, Ghost Kitty.
I call him Tomb Kitty, but I love Ghost Kitty.
I love him.
Yeah.
I imagine him to be like a little tiny fuzzy.
Oh
like
man.
An itty bitty little fuzzy.
Yeah.
Like the little.
So was he the cat of the, what's the guy, the guy that was the one that traveled around getting all of the tower guardians together? Was that his cat that he was always talking about? Oh, I gotta go take care of my cat.
Oh, that's a good question.
So that's
They never answered that. I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
they talked about that there are a lot of cats living in the tombs in general because they eat the mice that are running around, and they take care of that, and they're very important. They never explained. Yep, they never explained if that would be the same cat. I don't know.
I kind of thought at the end maybe it was.
It could be. That's
Yeah.
the question, though. Is his cat an actual cat, or is his cat also an image? No, what is it called?
I never believed that he actually had a cat until we really found out that Tomb Kitty was Ghost Kitty, and I was like, I bet that's his cat. And that when he's like, I need to go feed my cat, he's like going to the castle, like check on things or something.
Yeah.
Since he can travel from place to place.
Yeah, that is a good question. I don't know. But that was a very smart kitty, and thankfully we had it, her or I don't know if it was a her kitty or he kitty. Anyway, and one of those.
There are strange noises coming from downstairs.
Uh-oh.
Hello, Bandit. Is something wrong with your daddy? Come here.
Is that also a read and find out if there will be dragons?
I'm trying not to spoil the things, and man, is this hard, but not to spoil the things. I will not deny or confirm there will be dragons.
What
I
is
don't know.
happening?
I don't know.
Stairs. I hope Chris isn't like falling or something.
You want to go check real quick?
I figure he'll holler if he is having an emergency. Hang on, I'll mute and holler at him.
Word bandit.
That is. We're just having all the animals today.
He didn't hear me.
Okay.
Oh, hello, buddy.
Aww.
It is. It is Kate.
He says Daddy's making strange noises, so he came up here to hide. It sounds like, you know, those little skinny aluminum pans, like they're like cookie sheets, but they're skinny. If you take them and you do that's what it sounds like. But we don't have any of those, so.
Is he making cookies?
No, honey, he can't. He still can't put any weight on his leg. He would have me make the cookies. So I don't know what he's doing. He must be sliding something around.
All right. Which character did we not talk about? Did we cover everything?
We didn't talk about the Berry sisters really in detail. I love them.
Yeah.
I would read a novella about them. I want to know all about them.
Yes, I agree. I want to join a teen party with them.
Yes.
I want to sit there and be talked at by them.
Dream. That's the dream. I'm gonna go hiking in the woods and come across the Berry sisters.
Hopefully
I like that their dad's painting was in the castle, and that whole deal with Kerrigan. He was like, library. She's like, huh?
Yes.
I thought that was a really nice tie-in touch.
Yeah.
I hope they're in more of the future books.
Yeah. They're such great characters. I hope they get more scenes.
Yeah. Yes. But don't read the novella, Megan, right after book 6.
Mm-hmm.
It's Dream Gatherer. Yes.
Something. I have it on my list.
Yeah. Dream Gatherer. I think it's book 6.5. That's what the one is. And yes, I agree. That is something you should all read. Yeah, I think at least because there are 4 short stories in there, and one happens after one of the books, and I think it's after book 6. The other 3 are fine. They are not spoilery at all, but one, but that's fine because we went through that situation already. So one is spoilery after book 3, one is spoilery after book 6, and the other 2 are just random other side stories. Wait, Carrie just said something. Where did it go? Here we go. The sleepers introduced. Yes. Oh, this is going to be interesting in book 4. You all don't know what that is quite yet. That was just the last chapter when they're saying we have to go to the sleepers.
I am very intrigued.
What are your expectations for book 4? What would you like to see in book 4?
Oh, man.
Besides more Berry sisters.
I want Fergal to be sent a message to a kingdom that doesn't exist at the North Pole, and we don't hear from him anymore.
I would like him to have some character growth at the very least. And treat his horse a lot better.
I think that's based on the farmer, not the farmer, the lady and what's his name?
Well, he's got his colt that chose him.
Yeah.
So I think he's gonna. I definitely think he's gonna have a redemption arc for sure. I hope. Oh, I hope. Because if he does something else to a horse and somebody doesn't do something to him in return.
Well, we're getting Kate to read it. That's at least a good thing.
Oh, she's on a buddy read ban until June.
Well, she has. I mean, this buddy read
June of next year,
good.
Right?
This was already in the buddy reading plan.
Good. Yeah. we need her to continue this series definitely.
I want to know. I want more from Amber Hill. I'm curious to see what he's going to do. I mean, I'm sure we're going to follow this arc with the ring that he has, because the mask has been sort of been killed. he shouldn't pick it back up because, his man basically took the fall for him, and now everybody thinks the Raven Mask is dead. So it's a great opportunity to get out of it and never be found out. But I have a feeling, it's hard to say that clearly the treasure that he hoarded from the pirates after their death, I believe is cursed. And I just don't know if he's going to go back and get it, or he's going to go back to thieving with the mask. I don't know. I don't know what I want, really. I love the mask character.
Gotcha. Yeah, Black Veil is next. That's the next book.
Yeah.
The title tells you a little bit too.
Yeah. I have a feeling.
I'm horrible at predicting stuff, but I would like to continue on the trajectory we had for the second half of this book.
Mm-hmm.
And more.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I can tell you that much. It gets darker.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
Dark.
I like dark.
Alrighty. Oh, with all of that, anything else? Anything else that we forgot to talk about? I'm looking at my notes. Oh, there's one thing that I wanted to mention. When they were in the tombs, one thing that we can all relate to when they were describing the tombs of especially Queen Lyra, where they said Queen Lyra insisted on a library. I was like,
Yep. I mean, that was a character after our own hearts. That was messed up that they have their own rooms and they're just kind of like, it's like, okay, that's not creepy at all. The little girl goes in there and reads to her like, I'm sorry. All those people that live down there, like they never come above ground. They just live down there. That is not healthy.
No.
Yep. Well, but they said they tried to move them up, but it never worked out. They kind of been like, nope, son. Mm-mm. And can you imagine? They must be all really like white. The second they go outside, they're like sunburned. They've never seen the sun. That just cannot be healthy too.
Like Gollum, like it burns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. I'm just looking through my quotes right now, if there's anything that I see in addition. Oh yeah, when Kerrigan became honorary weapon, and they wwere like, "Death is honor," and Kerrigan
I like that.
I hope that I don't want to die right now.
I like how the weapons, how they've always treated her after the first book. I like that a lot.
Oh yeah, the weapons are great characters, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Think of the Dark Horse.
Ooh,
that
was a great movie.
Well, alrighty. If we covered everything that requires talking about in book 3, whatever, jumble that together the way it makes sense, please. Stephanie, Leslie, thanks you so much for joining in the live conversation, and everybody in the chat, Megan and Saber and Carrie and Kate, and I hope I'm not forgetting anyone who was in the chat. No, I think I got you all. Thanks so much for stopping by. Now we are back to regular schedule, so 1 book per month with Black Veil, basically starting now. I have it here. I would hold it up, but there's a lot of other books on top of it that will fall. I think it's not a good idea if I pull it out there. But Black Veil next. We have May already, and that is going to be, oh my goodness, I cannot wait for that conversation with you all and see what you think in the chat.
I did to read it. I already won.
Yes. So I'm very excited about that. Yeah. So thanks so much for joining. I hope you all have a great rest of the Sunday, and we'll see you all in the Discord.
Bye.